good, the bad, and the odd. What a lovely day.
Welcome to this episode of The Good, the Bad, and the Odd. We host Mark and Sam. Today we are going to be talking about He Never Died. Hi, Sam.
Hey.
Right, neither of us have had a chance to do much since last time, so we're going to give the comfy chair section a miss this time. Here's a trailer for another podcast first, and then we'll get into He Never Died.
In a world where podcasts last over 3 hours,
You have no concept of time!
Balaban Studios presents A Stinking Pause.
Take your stinking paws off me, you damn dirty ape!
Starring Scotland
Yeah, be prepared for me to have a little bit to say about that one.
and Charles.
If Leslie Grantham can do it, and so can we.
Oh yeah.
Budget.
The Stinking Paws Movie Podcast, available on iTunes and Stitcher Radio.
Hotter than any uncurbed passion since last tango in Paris.
There's the Facebook group, and you can follow us on Twitter at Stinking Paws.
You've never laughed more at sex or a picture about it.
And download all our episodes at thestinkingpaws.blogspot.co.uk.
Okay, so He Never Died. I think we have to say from the beginning this is going to be spoiler-filled. It's on Netflix, so you can... This is UK Netflix. I think it's probably international, so you can catch it on there. It's definitely worth a watch, in my opinion. Anyway, right, spoilers from this point on. So when have you watched this recently?
Yeah, I watched it a couple of days ago.
Yeah, I watched it last night, so it's pretty fresh in my mind.
Yeah.
It's a Canadian-American horror film. Well, it's been kind of comedy
Not really
horror
a
drama.
horror film.
Well, it's described as a comedic horror film, and I wouldn't describe it as comedic horror either. It's more supernatural, deadpan. Action deadpan kind of thing. Written and directed by Jason... Oh, man. Rauchik.
Polish name sort of thing.
Yeah. It premiered at, I think, a
South by Southwest. It's a film festival.
And it's got Henry Rollins as the main lead. Now, Henry Rollins was famously, I don't know if the band's still going, but he was or is the singer of a American punk band called Black Flag. Quite a famous band. He's done a bit of acting in the past.
Yeah. He was actually in the sequel series to Last Airbender.
Was he?
Yeah.
What voice work?
Villains.
Right, okay, cool. He's done a few things, but I think this is like his first lead role.
Yeah.
I could be wrong, but I think it's his first lead role. It's rated reasonably well on IMDb. It's 6.5. And it's not been on Netflix that long. Now, looking at the poster, it kind of intimates he's an angel. You see big wings behind him. And actually, the film starts leading you down that path, doesn't it, really?
Yeah.
Because you kind of see scars on his back that look like wings have been cut off his body. It was that kind of vibe. But that was a bit of a misleading thing.
Yeah.
What's your general thoughts on the film? How do you think it's developed and went on?
I quite liked it. I thought it was going to be like pretty bad when I started it because some of the early acting was like really poor. But as it went on, I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, you know what it reminded me of in terms of at first I wasn't sure if it was going to be any good, and I kind of liked it more and more. Goon, exactly. You too, yeah? It reminded you of kind of Goon. It had that kind of vibe. Now, I think Henry Rollins did a really good job here because basically he's immortal and he just does not want to interact with people. He's just fed up with life. And what made me laugh most about, in the bits that made me laugh was the fact he his lines came out as like he was being a tough guy, but in fact he was someone who did not give a hoot about anything.
Yeah.
And so when he was saying things like, if you do that, I'll kill you, he wasn't trying to be tough. He was basically stating a fact. He was saying, look, don't do that, you know.
Yeah.
And he didn't punch people at first. He just pushed them, didn't he? He was like pushing people. And only
I
when
like how he was kind of like almost, well, he makes the illusion as well, but like a recovering alcoholic. Like he was deliberately not being violent. He was pushing instead of punching. He was drinking water and coffee instead of beer. He wasn't eating meat at all.
Yeah. In fact, wasn't he also avoiding coffee? I wasn't quite sure there.
No,
he
drank coffee in the diner early on.
And just to get out of the house, the only things he did was like play bingo and go to the diner.
Yeah,
and
he'd do that hours in advance of what he wanted to do because
he does. He didn't want to get his blood up because bad things happen when he kind of got into, he got stirred up, as it were.
Yeah.
And I did like the fact that whatever he was doing, he just wanted to lie around and do nothing and avoid any sort of trouble. And it was funny that old people bingo was the only kind of hobby he had.
Yeah.
And that was because no one talked to him, no one bothered him. He didn't even have to concentrate that hard. He just did the minimum he could do, but still interact with people. It was kind of funny. And he avoided meat, didn't he, and all sorts.
Yeah.
I thought he did a really good job, actually. I really liked him I thought he was charismatic while being really underplayed. It kind of made me think he might make a good Punisher.
Yeah, maybe.
I could see that.
Interesting.
It certainly, and the film kind of, we won't get to the end too much yet, but it does end ambiguously, and there could be more story, but it ends.
Yeah, there is a miniseries in production.
There is. Oh, it's in production. I knew they were touting one, but I didn't know it was in production. Wow. And I think I would like. I'd watch it. For sure. This was a good fun film. It starts and like I said, I like the fact he just states facts, doesn't he?
Yeah.
And he's kind of also got supernatural powers, like he's aware stuff's going on.
Yeah, he's got very good hearing and senses.
Yeah, and I also like the fact he even won one fight without laying a punch at all. All he did was spit blood at the guy after the guy punched him, and the guy just got disgusted and walked off. And he's so tough, he's so tough in this. He doesn't even throw a punch and he still wins a fight, kind of thing. It was kind of funny. Which bit of the acting do you think was poor? Who? In fact,
I think the daughter and the nurse guy.
I agree. The nurse guy wasn't great, but I thought the daughter was kind of fine, actually. Certainly, when she settled in at first.
When she settled in, she was fine. But in the early stages, it was just like, she's just going to be like generic teenage daughter sort of thing, rebellious teenage daughter sort of.
Yeah, but I think the actress was appealing enough. She had enough charisma. It was kind of that, but it was fine because the actress had enough charisma to carry it off. But I agree, the intern guy wasn't a great actor. I kind of like the two tough guys that were beating him up, tracking him down.
Yeah,
they were terrible. They were terrible at their job.
They were pretty awful.
What did you think of Cara, the waitress?
The waitress was pretty good all through. She was good. So.
She kind of half reminded me of Laura Dern and half reminded me of Kate. Oh, who plays Galadriel? What's her name?
Kate Winslet.
No.
Wait, damn. Kate Blanchett.
Yeah, Kate Blanchett. She kind of reminded me of her, but I think she was a good actress anyway, and it kind of worked. She also had charisma. Now, when this first started, I thought he was like some sort of angel. It kind of reminded me of a film called The Prophecy, where there's fallen angels. What did you make of him?
Well, I assumed he was going to be like a fallen angel. Like he'd been stripped of his wings and just cast out. And that's why he needed to eat people and drink blood and all that sort of stuff. And it was like, okay, I can understand that.
Yeah, it was
also-
like one of Lucifer's minions, maybe. That was the kind of feel, wasn't it? Or maybe
Yeah.
even Lucifer. Wasn't sure. But then the old fella with the trilby and the goatee kind of popped up, and for most of it, only Jack could see him, though his daughter could see him at one point. And when his daughter saw him, did you notice he was kind of trying to look at her back to look for the whatever, he had those weird marks, or possibly excised wings on his back. And he was looking at her back once she saw the old fella too. He was kind of surprised.
Yeah.
But then he said, don't talk to him, and don't interact. What did you think the old? I mean, it was never clear really. What did you think
It
the
was
old
God.
fella was? You thought it was God because it could have been, to me, it could have been Lucifer, but I didn't quite understand why Lucifer before.
Well,
the other possibility. Sorry, go on.
No, I was going to say, God's really the only thing I could think of, because, he's the one who punished Cain and did that sort of thing.
Yeah.
All that sort of stuff.
It seems a bit below God to just bait Cain, but the other possibility I thought was he might be Death.
Yeah, maybe.
That kind of works too. If you listen, because you could kind of understand Death baiting, or Death turning up when people are about to die, and if Jack could see him, it kind of. I've just given out the spoiler. Never mind, we're spoiled anyway. Basically, we find out it's Cain, don't we?
Yeah. I like that he basically said it. I think it's in Hebrew.
Yeah,
it must be Hebrew. He
Cain,
said Cain.
And he talks about Baal or Baal as Abel, doesn't he?
Abel, yeah.
Yeah. And he says he doesn't. When he's explaining himself, he says, "You know me as Cain," and he's so matter of fact about everything. I mean, this is like several steps beyond an anti-hero. It's just a guy who really doesn't care, doesn't want to interact with people. He's even not.
It was very John Wick in that regard. It's like he didn't want to part with it. He didn't want to be part of this whole thing. But you pulled him into this.
But what made me laugh is this guy took it even further. Even when he was in the middle of it, he still didn't want to get involved. He was just wanted the absolute minimum to get out of it again. And he has to go rescue his daughter. He's going, I like when he first gets the phone call from his daughter's mother. His first words are, I hate you. He just goes, I hate you. That made me laugh.
Yeah.
And then we see these signs of him getting when he gets out. It's a bit Incredible Hulky.
Yeah.
He kind of starts all this.
It's very werewolfish.
It is a bit werewolfish. Yes.
Or in some vampire films when they cut loose, they start acting like this.
He
may have actually be supposed to be a vampire, just not affected by sunlight.
He actually does say right near the end, he says, "You didn't turn up in Wallachia when I was." He says something like, "Yeah, when I was staking all those people, or basically impaling all those people." But basically, the implication here, he was Vlad the Impaler or someone like that at one point. So it's kind of suggest he might be famous. Hearing it, they're famous figures in history.
There was also a bit. You might have heard it when he was lying on his back, and you could just hear noises. I swear I could have heard this might just be me assuming everything German sounding is Nazi, but I swear there was loud shouting in German at one point while he was lying down.
Yeah, it could have been. There was lots of odd. I mean, the opening credits are kind of weird noises, shouty noises, aren't they? Yeah, so it's kind of a bit, and it was a bit of a mystery, wasn't it? I didn't quite figure out what was going on. Why was he bothered about the hospital intern? And it turns out the intern's selling him blood, right?
Yeah.
And so that's why he wants to keep him alive. That's the only reason. It's not because he thinks anything of him at all. And even his own daughter, he really doesn't care for. He goes on her mother hassles him, so he goes and finds her, and he tracks her down, and he says, all he says was, he goes, "You're alright?" And she goes, "Yeah." He goes, "Well, don't die before you get to your mother," and just walks off. And she goes, "Is that it?" And wants to interact with him a little bit.
I love how she expects it to be some big realization, and this is who her dad is, and he's just does not care.
Nah, and in films, Yeah.
He doesn't want anything.
It was kind of fun that in a lot of films like this, that is the moment that kind of thing happens, and it kind of subverts that expectation because it's like, oh, I'm off. Okay. And there was also one bit. He goes, "What have you got planned for today?" He's lying on the bed. He goes, "This." You know, what else would you want to do? Kind of thing. And that's kind of fun. But it all kind of starts because he doesn't want his blood supply to kill. He goes and kind of rescues him.
Well, he goes and kills the guys that have caught him, and then just drops him in the back of an ambulance.
Yeah. But before that, he kind of beats them up. Well, they kind of hit him, and he does kind of whack them around a bit, but he goes and rescues the guy. He doesn't kill them because they're alive a bit later, aren't they? But they get another guy to help him who drugs his drink, and they drag him off to the sea. To the docks with loads of chains around him to throw him in, to drown. But he grabs one of the guys and falls back in with him, so takes him out. And then later on, straight after, the two guys, inept kind of guys, see him wandering around with chains. And at that point, he's still pushing them, but then he goes full mental and he rips one's throat out and starts eating whatever he ripped out of his throat. It's like, whoa.
Yeah.
Then we realise he's not quite right. I think it's to that point. I mean, he's taking all these punches and he's really not reacting that much.
This may be like really sadistic of me, but it was really funny to like half the time whenever Jack, which is the guy. It's his assumed name. He called himself Jack, and it's really funny whenever he's like sorting himself out after a fight.
It's kind of stretching. Is that what you mean?
Yeah, no. It's like when he's like in his room and there's like blood all over the floor. He starts like mopping it up with a sponge and putting it in a cup. Yeah, that sort of thing.
And there was a bit where he's kind of, I don't know, he's wandering the streets and it's almost like he wants to fight, but he's also trying to keep his inner beast down. But like we see a group of guys coming towards him, thinking there's going to be a fire, and one walks into him and goes, "Oh, excuse me, sorry." Yeah. So it's like he's not getting a fight, is he? And then a couple of like young dudes with a skateboard, he's throwing up, and one goes, you got this shit on me, you're gonna have to give me all your money. And he's kind of there, and
he looks at him for a second. He goes, "How old are you?" 14. Looks at the next guy. He goes, "How old are you?" "You look old enough. I'll have you," and just destroys him in a fight and eats him.
Yeah, the next shot we see that they've got guns, these guys, but we don't see the fight or whatever, but we see him going back to his apartment. When he takes his shirt off, he's got holes in his body.
Yeah,
so he's obviously been shot. And he even put shirts on and blood starts seeping out through him and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Then he goes and finds Kara, and he says, basically there's a load of guys in the diner. But doesn't he see the diner owner like bleeding on the floor?
Yeah, he walks in, sits down at orders, then goes into the bathroom and gets stabbed.
Yeah, and
kills the guy off screen, and then
when he comes out, he pulls the ice pick out of his back.
And
sits down. And then the guy shoots him in the head and he just stands up.
Yeah.
That was funny. And then when he's pulling the bullet out of his head, she goes, "What do you do?" He says, "Well, if I leave it there, it'll heal over and I'll get a migraine."
And he's doing this in her car, so there's blood everywhere.
Yeah. And he offers her, he says, "You got to help me." And she goes, "What?" He goes, "Well, I'll give you $1 million. I'm not kidding. I've got $1 million. He's going, "What?" And basically, I didn't quite catch this, but I read up on it afterwards. But the guy, the mobster that's annoying him, basically, he's killed that guy's father or something.
Yeah. Jack killed the mobster's father at some point. This isn't revealed until the very end.
Yeah, but the mobster realises he can't hurt him, so he has to hurt whatever's around him. In fact, we see we don't see it. We hear on the phone that off camera they've killed his daughter's mother, right? They actually say that.
I don't remember that.
Yeah, they mention it really casually. I had to listen to it twice to catch it, but they said accidents happen or something like that. I think they kill her. I could be wrong, but I think they kill her mother. And he says we've got to rescue her. And then he goes and gets him, and it's kind of, there is a point where he's about to kill Jeremy, and Kara says to him, "Look, your daughter's out. We got to go rescue your daughter." And he's like,
and he looks at God,
know.
who's sitting there,
or death, or whatever he is.
Yeah, and he goes, "I guess nothing," and just walks out.
Yeah, but he does have a good rant at this God or death figure, doesn't he? Sort of saying all the things people do, and I have to suffer this for killing that piece of shit Hubble. He goes, he was nothing, you know. He goes, what? Just let me die, kind of thing.
Yeah.
He's really peeved. There's some other quite interesting, fun bits where he reveals, like, he doesn't reveal, but kind of
he casually drops that he's he has 400-year-old. I can't even remember what it was. I think it might have been body parts in his room.
Oh no, I missed that. But I did hear him when he started telling her. She goes, "What have you done?" And he starts listing his jobs, and he goes on and on and on. And at the end, he goes, "Oh, I've never been a waiter." He says, "I've been a blacksmith, an ironsmith. I've been in prison and a lot of prison." I've done, you know, and he just keeps listing all these jobs. He goes, "I've been in retail. I've sold pretty much everything. I've done this," and it makes me laugh. "Oh, I've been in the military," he says at one point. It's kind of fun. Henry Rollins really worked as this character. It really worked for me. The only weak actor, I think, I mean, the Hitmen were okay. They were kind of fun. The only weak actor, I think, was the intern, actually, but he wasn't on that much. I think the daughter and the actress, the daughter and the waitress were pretty good. I did read that the guy playing the monster does a lot of voiceover in Grand Theft Auto 5. He's famous for being like the mobster or main mobster in Grand Theft Auto 5, but I've never played that, so I couldn't be sure.
Let me have a look.
Yeah, it was Jeremy. No, Jeremy was the intern, wasn't it?
This guy plays the absolute maniac character.
Oh, you know the game better
he's
than
like
me.
a complete psychopath in that game.
Right. So this was a lot of fun, this film. I mean, considering it's free, to watch.
Yeah.
I kind of like
it's a paid service.
Yeah,
so.
I mean, I like some of the music. That was all right. I just thought it was fun. I'd really like to see the continuing adventures of this guy, Kane, or Jack.
I like the bit where she says she goes, "Well, you're really a jack of all trades," and he looks up like his ruse has been discovered. Like that's the backstory of his name.
It was. I really enjoyed this. This is like probably the most extreme version of an anti-hero you'll ever see, because he really didn't want to get involved at all. Yeah. Usually, anti-heroes don't want to get involved; they get sucked into it, and sometimes only inadvertently help people. But in the end, they do it for emotional reasons. But he didn't get that far, did he? It was kind of.
It wasn't even that. There was the bit where he was like shouting at the mobster, and he's just going this isn't even for the girl that's beaten up in the next room. This isn't because you beat up my food supply. This is because you've annoyed me.
Yeah, it was. I did like his kind of when he got to a point where he just gave up trying to not do stuff, and he kind of went and had a beer. And the guy, like you say, the bellman said, "Are you some sort of recovering alcoholic? I can get you something else." And he just doesn't even answer him. Oh, the other bit that made me laugh is when the women come in and said, "Hi there," and they put on like a country song, and he just walked over to the jukebox and booted it, booted it off. And I think that was in there because he's Henry Rollins, lead singer of a punk band. I think that's why that scene was in there. But it was kind of funny to see. That made me laugh too. There was loads of little things like that. I can't remember off the top of my head some of them, but there was lots of little things in there. It was kind of an interesting. I could see some people just not liking this at all. I could kind of understand it, but I think one of the reasons it kind of catches is like sometimes in your life you kind of feel like this guy, you just want people to leave you alone and just do your own thing. And it was kind of cool that I mean, the vampire element was, he was drinking blood. He was eating flesh too, but blood was enough for him to be satisfied or fulfill his cravings for a short time. So you can kind of think that he's kind of being set up as the vampire legend. And it's kind of, I'm just wondering, is his apathy self-induced to try and stop killing people, or has he just been around so long? You get the idea from when he talks that his history is, there was a point he revelled in it, when he talks about Walachu and stuff like that. But has he just had enough? And so is it because he's so old that he just doesn't want to interact with people and he wants the days to just pass without incident? Or is he kind of... is he not wanting to be the bad guy anymore? Is he just... It seems more like he's just fed up, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Rather than he wants to be good. It's just...
Yeah.
And Henry Rollins really... It worked. It just worked, this film. And it had a lot... As I say, we both picked up separately. It was kind of reminiscent of Goon in that it starts quiet and it kind of comes to life as the film goes on. And you can kind of see it doesn't fundamentally change, but he's kind of forced to interact with people.
Yeah,
that was the point of it. I mean, it wouldn't be much of a film if he didn't interact with anyone. I liked it. It was a kind of a hardcore in its own way. It was bloody when it needed to be.
Yeah, it was bloody. It had like dudes getting their throats ripped out. That was.
Yeah, it was, and it was. He wasn't just ripping their throats out; it was eating it too. It was. I like the bingo stuff. It kind of made me laugh. It was
I like that his cutting loose of that was he just bought more sheets.
Yeah, he wanted more sheets to sort of go mad. It was kind of gruesome. The thing, I can see a few people being put off this because the beginning's a bit confusing and slow. But it worked perfectly for me. I never felt bored. I kind of liked it. But I was perplexed. I have to say I was perplexed in the first 20 minutes or so. And it's like, when you saw them scars on his back, I immediately thought, it's an angel. And then when he started doing, he was obviously a bit disturbed about certain things and it was changing his nature. It's like, it's a fallen angel. And then finally, towards the end, he tells you he's Cain. It's like, I didn't see that coming. I didn't expect that. So I guess those marks on his back are the mark of Cain. And he was trying to see if his daughter was affected, because she could also see God or death or whatever it was.
Yeah.
I'm still intrigued what that man was, really.
I'm going to work with his God.
Well, the reason I think it's death is because he specifically said, do not talk to him. Do not interact with him. Then
he said, you did this to me.
Yes, and that is God,
so.
isn't it? Yeah, you're quite right. You're quite right. He does say that. And it also makes me wonder, why can his daughter see this person? Is it because Jeanette?
Probably because the genes?
Yeah. Just so she must carry it. And, in the Old Testament, there's a lot of, you will carry the sins of the father for 7 generations kind of stuff. So that kind of ties in with the Old Testament kind of business. I had a feeling it was Michael. Michael the Archangel was wielded the sword of God. But actually, no, Michael never fell in Judeo-Christian mythology, so maybe not. It just occurred to me that might be the kind of angel he is, or fallen angel. But the other thing was, I was thinking he was Lucifer. I thought he might turn into the devil at one point, but no. This was cool. Should we get all about done, do you think?
Yeah, I think so.
The only other thing to mention is the annoying neighbour. It's a crow. He's got an annoying, horrible neighbour. No, I don't think he's quite a wife beater, but he's pretty horrible like that.
Yeah,
and he just takes him out, doesn't he?
Yeah.
That was kind of fun.
There's also the neighbour that just plays awful music loud all day.
Yeah. And there was one point, actually, I didn't mention, where Jack actually, because his blood's up, he basically chucks his daughter out, doesn't he? He says, "You've got to leave right now. You have to leave right now." And that's the first time we see him animated, isn't it? You can kind of see that someone's been around for thousands of years. Everything petty will just not interest them at all. They'll just not care. So as the centuries pass by, more and more things become something you just don't care about. So it kind of works. It was like a real study in apathy. That's what it was.
Yeah.
And I did like the fact he didn't want to fight, and when he does, he's really destructive. Really.
Yeah,
destructive.
he's like the really distinctive part is when he drops like a light over a snooker table on a dude just 'cause. But otherwise, it's just like him beating people senseless with his bare fists and tearing their throats out.
Yeah, I mean, the only other thing that the way he acted reminded me of, I mentioned he might make a good Punisher, is he reminded me a bit of the Terminator. He had that kind of vibe, you know?
Yeah.
Because he was so destructive when he actually went to town. It kind of reminded me a bit of that. It almost felt like the Terminator mixed with some sort of, something like the Prophecy. It was, with angels fighting each other and stuff like that. It was kind of cool. All right, then let's get to rating this. What would you give this out of 10?
I'd give this an 8.
Yeah, I think I'll give it a 7, but I think I'm gonna watch it again. I think I want to just watch it again and sort of watch out for more little clues to what he is. I think that might be cool. But for now, I think I'll give it a 7. So we'll have a film next time, I think, and then the week after, I think we're going to be covering Kolchak, or some of Kolchak, the Night Stalker. But we'll see how we go. Okay, so bye from me.
Bye.
Cowards, ride the cold. Rise above, we're gonna rise above. They distort what we say. Rise above, we're gonna rise above. Try to stop what we do. Rise above, we're gonna rise above. When they can't do it themselves. Rise above, we're gonna rise above. We are tired of your abuse. Try to stop us. It's no use. Societies are out of control.